Live.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Waking Up Spiritually podcast. Gregg, Kirk, and I are so delighted to have you join us here for the first episode of 2022 as we welcome in a sixth year, and we'll be getting into what that means. I'm Wendy Rose Williams. I'm a past life adventure guide, and I help people release energy that doesn't serve them anymore. Things like chronic pain, anxiety, depression, just getting yourself unstuck. Isn't the new year a perfect time to look at doing that and letting go of some old habits that don't serve you and just being able and willing to embrace some new opportunities as you get some good energy flow going. My website is my full name, wendyrosewilliams.com. And again, welcome to the Waking Up Spiritually podcast. We are here twice a month on the second and fourth Sundays at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to turn it over to Gregg. He's going to introduce himself and we'll get into today's topic.
Hello, I'm Gregg Kirk. I'm a light worker, energy healer. My website is my name also. It's Gregg, GreggKirk.com. I do individual sessions, remote and also in person with tuning forks. I run an online group healing circle every Sunday, usually at noon Eastern time. And when weather permitting, we do in-person fire circles. It's been a little bit cold on the East Coast. I don't think we're going to do one this month, but we did one last month in December, and we had some energy warriors out there. We got pretty cold, but I think it's a little too cold right now. But we'll kick them back in when the weather gets nicer. But please look for. I have an events link on the top of my website, and I also have an appointment link that you can set up an appointment with me. So, without further ado, Wendy and I would like to talk about. We did a more or less an interview with somebody. So Wendy and I, at this point, had decided not to have specific guests. We didn't want to do like the typical interview format for our Waking Up Spiritually, but we talked to a subject matter expert about our next topic. Her name is Debbie Buss, and she's in the UK, and she is an astrologist and a numerologist that Wendy knows. So I'm going to hand it over to Wendy so she can take over. But we basically did an interview with her, and she has some themes and some forecasts for this year based upon the heavenly bodies and the numbers involved.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's go to the next slide. And yes, I've had personal reading with Debbie Buss, and she'll be featured actually in my next book because she helped me take a look at a past life to see what I might still be working on and bringing to the next stages. So Debbie is a gifted clairvoyant and intuitive, and her unique practice draws on astrology, divination, and astronumerology. Supporting her clients to develop and work with core strengths, discovering their own inner genius and committing to it in all aspects of their lives. And recently she began creating oracle decks, and she's created 3 decks within the last 3 months. Oh my goodness. I mean, talk about being on fire and just, finding your creativity. And that's what I'm hoping to really do with my writing this year, and just have a really ambitious, fun writing schedule of things that have been bubbling to the surface for the last few years. And you can connect and discover more about Debbie through her site, Cosmic Alchemy, which is at bookme name Cosmic Alchemy Debbie Buss. So let's go to the next slide. And some of the upcoming themes that Debbie sees for this year, for 2022, which again is a 6th year, because if you add 2 + 2 + 2, that's how we know this is a 6th year. She did this cool word salad slide of all the words that just bubbled up to the surface for her for 2022. And just see what pops up for you. You may already know what it feels like is starting for you in 2022, but I'll just read some of these. I'm just going to read out a couple that just really jump out at me that have been showing up in a large way in my life. Boundaries, relationships are two of them, definitely, and magic. I'm going to pick those as my three of what's really changing and shifting and showing up for me. So, Gregg, what jumps out to you? And it doesn't have to be on this side. It might be something else too.
Yeah, I have some notes from when we talked to Debbie, but yeah, the big one that jumps out to me is simplicity, compassion, miracles, support, things like that. But it was such a relief to hear Debbie talk about the changing energies because, let's face it, a lot of people would agree that the past 2 years have been some tough ones, a lot of tough lessons and a lot of tough experiences for people to go through. And she had some good news for us energetically. She said basically the energy that's coming in for the next year will be joyful. It'll be a good time to set boundaries, but it'll be a good time to work on your spiritual practice, self-nourishing, self-love, compassion, as well as putting that out towards others. She mentioned freedom of speech is going to be a big deal this year, and the idea of agreeing to disagree. So, with the idea of free speech, everybody's going to be free to broadcast their belief systems. And we've got so many platforms now in social media where that's so easy to do. And it's so easy to disagree with someone. So what do we do about that? And, it's up to us to be compassionate and drive our actions through heart-centered actions. Being of service. And she also said this is going to be the year of the teacher. So whether one appears to you because you're seeking knowledge or whether you become one. So I loved that. This is all music to my ears. and also speaking of that music, she also mentioned this is a time of artistic expression. So, just great, all great stuff.
Yes. So yes, for you as a musician and a writer, both Gregg and we're both communicators and spiritual teachers. So yes, it's just some exciting things ahead. And as you said, coming from that heart-centered place and remembering to stay in our compassion, because yes, some things are going to change too, and some of those changes may not be easy. So we'll get more into that too.
Right.
All right. So what we're going to be experiencing in 2022 is Jupiter and Neptune energies in a big way. And Jupiter is going to be in Pisces. And Pisces is known for being, it's the 12th sign of the zodiac, and the empathy. It's a very psychic sign, the spirituality, and again, the teaching. So those are the things that Jupiter is known for. And Neptune is known for what we'll call illusion and confusion, as well as that dream state and the opportunity to wake up spiritually and to wake up to who we really are. And the sixth house in the natal chart is originally the house of the servant. Debbie mentioned that, and that love energy, and looking whether a decision to be in service, whether it fills your soul. So making sure that you're just, again, have those good boundaries and are not forgetting yourself, to put yourself first and take care of yourself in beautiful ways. And it's a great time to choose what you believe in, to engage in a spiritual practice, for instance, meditating, journaling, channeling. And Gregg and I did a podcast on that. So if you'd like to get more deeply into that, please look for that podcast. And it is the year of the teacher, as we've referred to several times. Every 6 years, a year of the teacher. What are you called to share, I think is the question, as well as to learn. So being able to communicate with compassion, as Gregg talked about, because the world does not need more keyboard warriors with a lot of opinions being shared. Let's just stay in that place of support, being supportive to one another. And also making sure that if we are teaching, and teaching again, it's a two-way street, because when we teach, we learn. And making sure that you're in that teacher place versus in that victim place, because there can be just this tipping point between the two. Debbie talked a lot about expansion, which Gregg and I were really seizing on, more joyful, lighter energy than last year. Again, a time of slowing down and nourishing ourselves and our support systems, a time of community, being of service to both ourselves and to others. And dreams really coming to the forefront. Maybe this is the perfect time to really start to pay some attention to your dreams, because those might have some wonderful messages for you. And if you just take the time to have a little notebook next to your bed, or to dictate them right into your phone before it slips away, because those dreams can be just so wispy and they depart from us very quickly unless we're really good at that muscle, so to speak, of retaining and remembering what was that dream. So just getting some good information there. And again, using boundaries to nourish ourselves and others, and to have compassion. So you're just hearing that theme of compassion throughout here, I think, which is just perfect in a year of the teacher.
Yeah, definitely.
So any comments on that, Gregg? Anything I left out there, or anything to add?
Not at all. Yeah, that was that echoed everything I had in my notes for sure.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, we were both madly taking notes as we were talking with Debbie, and we recorded also because we wanted to do justice to her lovely information. It's important to discern whose energy you're feeling, because when you're just going through that compassion and that empathy and those psychic moments, just pay attention. Is it, and ask yourself, is that my energy or emotion? Is that someone else's? Or is that a combination? Or am I picking up on things from the collective, from Mother Earth herself, or from all of mankind? So just starting to be able to discern that is really, really helpful. Also, the art of learning to agree to disagree peacefully. Oh my goodness. Would that not be the end of war and poverty and just so much affliction and low vibration energy on the planet if we could just learn to do that peacefully? I actually came in with a soul contract to learn to do that with my mom. And I think that's perfect, because when you've got that intimate relationship, whether it's with a parent, a spouse, a child, that sort of a relationship, that's often where we hold those really powerful contracts. So
yeah, I'd just like to take a moment there. So just ran the online group healing circle a few hours ago, and this came up really big. This idea, the idea of agreeing to disagree, and how to work through those conflicts, and just going down to the root of how these conflicts start. Starting with, are your belief systems becoming your identity? Which is, I would say, is not a good thing, because then if somebody disagrees with your beliefs, then you take it personally. It hurts your feelings, whether you realize it or not, or you're defending yourself. You're really defending your feelings.
Because it's
right?
Feeling like a personal attack.
Exactly.
We're over-identified.
Right.
Okay.
So the first bit of information we got was let go of your belief systems, be open to having them changed, but also it's not a good thing to become attached to them, because it attaches in your ego center and it becomes your ego. And, so if somebody is attacking your belief systems, you feel like they're attacking you. So that's the first step. The second step is, how many times have you seen an argument in social media or even in person resolve in a peaceful way, and people are shouting and they're full of emotion? Nobody's ever said, you yelling at me really made me see your point of view, and I changed my mind. Thank you. That's never happened in the history of arguing.
Yeah, quite the opposite.
Right. It usually both people are digging their heels in and they get mad, and then it gets down into an ad hominem argument, like, well, you don't understand what I'm talking about because you're so stupid or you're crazy. We were talking about that in the healing circle, is like, that's when it kind of deconstructs and degrades into just name calling and you're dumb and you're crazy. Because when your belief system does become your identity, you look at other people like they must be inferior in some way if they're not, having the same experience and the same conclusions as me, which is not empathetic at all. And it's not true. So anyway, so we worked on that today, but so starting with, look at yourself first, before you throw the first stone, look at yourself. Are you identifying too closely with your belief system? Just listen to the other side. All of your actions should be driven with compassion, from your heart center. And then if you run into a situation where the other person and you just do not agree, then agree to disagree, then go away from it. And then I recommend, last episode, we did an episode on divine love. At the end of that episode, around the 40-minute mark, there is a meditation that we did that is all about cultivating love and sending love out to somebody you've had a conflict with. And guess what? My wife and I both did that separately. Like, I'm practicing what I'm preaching here. I had a conflict with somebody in my family, sent love out to that person. That person reached out to me unprompted, and we had a phone conversation, the first time we've talked on the phone in years. And the same thing happened with my wife. She had a conflict with someone, and that person reached out to her, and she didn't realize the timing. So she said, "Hey, this person reached out to me. That's really cool." And I said, "Well, when did you do that meditation? Was it before or after she reached out?" And she said, "Oh, it was before." I said, "Yes, this stuff is like magic. It works really well. It's like putting a charm out there,
Talk about clearing the energetic airwaves.
Yes,
for
yes.
a better.
Right. So what I'm saying is there's two sides to this. There's your own, internal examination of making sure that you're not coming to a fight with a chip on your shoulder because your belief system is your identification. I recommend looking at that and trying to uncouple that from your energy field, your thought patterns, whatever. And then, when you do come into these scrapes, just walk away, do a bit of meditation, do that divine love cultivation thing and send it out to someone, and then just watch what happens. You don't have to do anything. That's the beautiful part about it. You don't have to talk that person into your way of thinking. Instead, just send them love, and they just kind of magically come around. Now, it doesn't convince them of anything. It's just easier to talk with them now. And the playing field is leveled, and you start identifying more of your commonalities and you don't really talk about your arguments. So anyway, I just wanted to spend some time talking about that, because that is really, or what's the date today? The 9th. It's already, this agree to disagree energy is already coming up big. So it's good.
That's so powerful, Greg. Thank you for sharing those examples. That's wonderful. And Debbie Buse also shared with us that January through May is a creative time, that Pisces influence with what's going on in the stars and planets. So artists, musicians, writers, just focus on the beauty of the creation. And if you feel stuck in that area, I really struggled to step to the plate with the first book. So I know what it's like trying to pull that bathtub plug out of this clogged tub and would be delighted to do a session with people or do a session with Gregg. It is amazing what you can accomplish on the phone with Gregg in 30 to 45 minutes, because I've had many sessions with him, and it can just really help you reset your energy and get things squared away and get going and get flowing in the best possible ways. And it's important to do that and just feel that creativity and just start embracing it. Start that notebook, start that new book, start that new song, the new painting, whatever it might be, because May through October is going to be an excellent time to start endeavors. It's going to be Aries energy, the first sign of the zodiac, and it's that go, go, go energy. So you want to already have your creative starts in place so that you can then start to really bring them to fruition. So it's easier to edit than it is to write a blank page. So that's sometimes literal and just sometimes an analogy for things in life. And Venus and Uranus are going to be retrograde until the end of this month, until January 29th. So Debbie was recommending no big financial decisions until the end of the month, but that'll be here before we know it. And it's a good time to refocus and double check emails and forms of communication, et cetera, so that we don't inadvertently set off miscommunications and confusion and hurt feelings, et cetera, because we weren't pristine in our communication. And the big news for the year for people in the United States, and because we have a world economy too, for the first time in 228 years. So this has never happened before in the US history, because our country isn't older than that, is Pluto will be returning, meaning coming back into the sky at the exact place where it was on July 4th, 1776, when we were born as a country. So there are likely to be some power struggles to get to that compassion and that humanitarian energy that we've been, many of us have just been wanting to embrace and wanting to feel and experience. And it's going to take some faith and some trust and some love healing. So again, we've got that amazing meditation from Gregg from the last episode, to really be reaching that Buddha enlightenment energy. Because, oh my goodness, to imagine and to vision that that's now possible for us, because it's here on the planet, stronger than ever. So we can get there. And if we look back approximately 100 years, that was the 1930s. That was the Great Depression. That was a rebirth for banking and economy. It was not easy. It was not pretty. There were some real things that went on. And Debbie's, the way she was interpreting, and other astrologers and numerologists too, have been telling us we may be experiencing some economic disruptions, some social unrest, some scandals, perhaps in the banking, the financial industries, beginning in February as a result of that Pluto return. So this is not to make you move into fear. It's quite the opposite. Energies are always changing, and based on people's actions and behaviors, that's going to determine what's going to happen. But Pluto is returning to the 6th house, which is the house of finance. So that's why it's a house of banking. And we're talking about this for the country, for the United States. So, and Debbie did correct us, because Gregg and I are both in the US, and we said, well, gee, wouldn't that, I was kind of thinking to myself, wouldn't that only matter for people living in the US? And she said, absolutely not. Because it is a world economy, and it will, ripple out and be affecting people in others. And astrologers have done studies of other countries that are much more established than the US, countries that are hundreds, thousands of years old. And when they have a Pluto return, this is what tends to happen: is there's that shakeout in the banking and the economy, and things can just bubble up. So wouldn't it be appropriate to meditate and send love to our government, and let's just ease some of this? Or if we're seeing any of that unrest going on again, because it's the 1-year anniversary of when that was not so peaceful at the White House, and we had an insurrection. So just, feeling, sending more peace to that. And let's learn to agree to disagree peacefully. So that's what I wanted to say there. Gregg, anything you want to add? I'm just so struck by this is our first Pluto return for our young country.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, I remember Debbie talking about the economic stuff and some scandals. How did she put it? Basically, some things are going to be revealed about people in high places that were well, scandalous. So we can look to that, and I think that is around all the way up to February 22nd is what she said. I think
Right.
that's when Pluto goes into return, I believe. There's
Right.
also, I have in my notes here that Mercury is going into retrograde at the beginning, or it's going into retrograde at some point in January, and it's going direct at the beginning of February. So I'm a person that tends to notice when Mercury's in retrograde, because technologically things start going weird, and just even other things in my life go kind of wonky. All right, I noticed that. So that was another point, is that Mercury is going retrograde. I don't remember the exact date it starts. It's sometime in January, but it goes direct on February.
That's something people can look up. And please, we are not astrologers or numerologists, so please, any errors in communication are mine and Gregg's and not Debbie's. So
right,
just our best interpretation here.
right. Okay.
All right. So 2022 in the Chinese calendar is the year of the water tiger, which I had never heard of. And I just love, the thought of that, of a water tiger. And again, the Pisces, that energy flow, and making sure we're paying attention to boundaries. Because when you've got a lot of things changing and a lot of things falling away and giving us that chance to up level, it really is time to look after the self and get in touch with your own emotions and loving yourself and being in your own emotional body and paying attention to your relationships too, that you care about and want to nurture or want to improve and enhance. So again, back to that love meditation. And the 6th year, again, is an overall theme. It's about family, home, support network. And the energy will be encouraging us to step outside the box because of the Jupiter energy that's going on, and to share your message, to communicate, to write, whatever your, or to be writing music, or to sing, or again, the art, or whatever your method of beautiful expression is. And the COVID slowdown has allowed us to reassess priorities. I think that's been one of the gifts in a pretty tough, challenging couple of years. And the 22 energy again just encourages simplicity. I don't know about you, Gregg, but I've just been loving giving things away. It's like, what can I clear and declutter and just give away through my local Facebook Buy Nothing group that neighbors can use and just come pick up, and just if you haven't touched it or looked at it or used it. And I actually had a dream about that, and it went through, and I was having a wonderful conversation looking at my whole house with fresh eyes and saying, if you were to take everything out of your house, let's say you were going to repaint and redo your floors and carpeting, and you were like to move out of your house and move back in, what would you really want to move back in? And I thought that was just such a powerful dream to go through that. I got it down to 3 pieces of furniture of what I would really, really care about and really want to keep. One is the little antique writing desk. Anyone that's watching can see in the background was my grandmother's writing desk. That's from the 1930s that I inherited from her. And another was an antique large china closet I have that was mine in a past life. And then another was a little set of 3 antique nesting tables that fit one under another, or you can use them separately. that was it. It was like, oh my goodness. I mean, obviously you need a bed, you need a couch, but I'm not like overly attached to the ones I have. So
Nice.
it's just, do those kinds of exercises and practices with yourself, and just lighten the load, lighten the energy by decluttering what's around you, and that allows wonderful new things to come in.
Definitely. Okay. So here are some dates that Devi gave us. These are the dates of when the new moons are going to be. Going January 2nd will be the first new moon of the year we already had. February 1st will be the next. March 2nd will be after that. April will have two new moons, one on April 1st and one on April 30th. And then a full 30
That's a
days.
blue moon because 2 in 1 month. Okay.
Right, exactly. Good. And then May 30th will be the next one, and June 29th. So there will be on April 30th. So the blue moon on April 30th will be a special moon because it'll be a partial solar eclipse as well. So that's all kinds of energies happening on April 30th. It's a good time to maybe do some meditation or some energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And new moons are especially powerful for setting your intentions and working on what you'd like to attract into your life, and what you'd like to change and enhance and improve. So what about the second half of the year then, Greg?
Yeah, July 28th is the next new moon. And then this is interesting, August 27th and 28th will be a new moon. And then September 25th, October 25th, and then November 23rd and 24th, and then December 23rd and 24th. So right before Christmas will be the last new moon of 2022. There will be on October 25th, there'll be another partial solar eclipse.
Wonderful. And I encourage those of you who want to jot down those dates. I just build them into my calendar because it really is nice to have them there in your calendar, or as the Brits would say, in your diary. Debbie's got the slide for us, dates for your diary. And
Right.
she also gave the number of degrees that each of the moons would be, what planet would be in, the number of degrees. So if you relate to numerology, it's nice to have that information too, because we can just relate to certain numbers.
Right.
So that'll be on the slides too.
So these are the full moons for the coming year. So we're coming up on one on January 17th. February 16th will be the one after that. March 18th, April 16th, May 15th and 16th is a full moon, and June 14th is a full moon. And on May 15th and 16th, there will be a total lunar eclipse. So that will be
an powerful energies there. And the full moon, here's your wonderful time to just release things, let it go, let it go, let it go. I like to, if you don't have a fire pit or, Gregg with his wonderful fire circles outside, you can take a coffee can, you can take any kind of can, and I'll just write on a sticky note what's bothering me, what I'm struggling to let go of. If you just have emotions that you're just ready to balance up and let go of, just write it down there and burn it out. Full moon, and you will feel so much better. It's just a wonderful way to balance energy.
Definitely.
Takes
I just want to
5
say
minutes.
one thing about full moons is that, I help patients of Lyme disease. They tend to notice, patients of Lyme disease, that their symptom spikes rise with the full moon. And a lot of patients ask, why is this? Well, the moon has a gravitational pull and it pulls the tides, right? So you're full of water, it's pulling on you. That's basically what's going on. So
Absolutely. It's why a lot of people can be sleepless. I normally sleep like the dead. I'm a great sleeper, but full moon, oh my goodness, that can be a really sleepless night. I can be awake for hours, and I'll just meditate and just go with it. It's just the way it is because I'm just feeling that. And I worked for hospitals for 30 years. Little secret. the most births and the most ER visits are on full moon. So hospitals staff up because they know it's really interesting.
It's a loony time, literally. Okay, so the next full moon starting in July is July 13th. The next one in August will be over the course of August 11th and 12th. September 10th is the next full moon. October 9th is the full moon in October. November 8th in November. And then the final full moon of the year will be on December 8th. And November's full moon on between the 7th and 8th will be another total lunar eclipse.
Okay, wonderful. So there's those dates. And then the biggies for the year, the solar and lunar eclipses, 30th of April, a partial solar eclipse, and that'll be in Taurus. And May 5th and 16th, there'll be a total lunar eclipse, and that's going to be Scorpio energy. October 25th, partial solar eclipse, again Scorpio. And November 8th, a total lunar eclipse in Taurus. So again, thank you to Debbie Buse for sharing these slides and information with us.
I feel like a meteorologist giving the forecast. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us to this week. We are coming back on January 23rd for our next broadcast, which will be on spiritual survival. The topic is spiritual survival guide. Why can't I say that? Spiritual, that's actually kind of hard to say. Spiritual survival guide. Tongue twister. So we actually got some feedback from some of our listeners who basically have said, hey, why don't you guys, I'm waking up spiritually. What's kind of like the broken down, what are the top recommendations you get? What you would give to somebody who's getting started as, either having a spiritual practice or, I want to avoid doing things wrong or wasting my time and money too on crystals I shouldn't get or on practices or books, that kind of thing. So we're going to put it all together. Our top, we've been in this a little while and we've made plenty of mistakes and we've arrived at the things that work for both of us. Now, of course, they're different. So it's just a matter of, and obviously these are preferences, but it doesn't necessarily mean they will be yours, but it will give you a good
starting point, a launch point.
A launch point. It's a primer for everyone, and you can just dip your toe in the water with that. So we'll be doing that on January 23rd.
Well, looking forward to it. And please join us in our Facebook group, which is named Waking Up Spiritually. And you can also visit our website at wakingupspiritually.com. And all of the episodes are recorded there and you can see them as a PowerPoint. And please, you are welcome to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Gregg's got that link in the slides. Can rate and review us on Apple iTunes. We so appreciate you taking a moment to do that because it helps other people find the content. And then Gregg's website, Gregg, Kirk.com. Again, I highly recommend doing a session with Gregg. Start your year off right and have one of those short yet very meaningful phone sessions with them if you're not able to meet in person because you're not out in Gregg's area. And my website is wendyrosewilliams.com, and happy to offer you a complimentary 15-minute phone appointment and just see how I might be of service. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to 2022.
Bye-bye.